So welcome everybody to this latest Macklin's Take YouTube episode. You will see that the surroundings SSC Arena is being deconstructed around us as we speak, because it's the end of the night. Okolie versus Glowacki was headlining the bill. And Matt, we've got Team Okolie just away to our right hand side. Lawrence is backstage somewhere, but brother Henry is just across the way. That was punch perfect. That was absolutely punch perfect.
He could not have scripted it any better. He won every round and then knocked him out. Was it the fifth or the sixth? You know, sixth. I mean, he couldn't have scripted it. It was perfect. You know what? He showed discipline. He showed patience. He showed good shot selection, variety. You know, because Glowacki was, you know, he's experienced, and he was trying. You could see he was trying to pressure him with the front foot. He was trying to stay low, keep that pressure on him. And Okolie just, you know, he didn't panic. He stayed nice and patient. You know what I mean? He was trying to drill him with the right hands to the body, catching him with the jabs, and he was happy with what he was getting. He wasn't getting greedy. He wasn't trying to get overexcited. He boxed to instructions. You know, as a trainer, Shane McGuigan, you devise a plan, and then you talk the fighter through the fight round by round, and he literally boxed to instructions. And then in the end, you know, I thought he won every single round, and then, you know, in the sixth round, lands that beautifully timed right hand, drops him heavy. And I think all of us knew as soon as he went down. For me anyway, I didn't think for a second he was going to beat the count.
No, nor did I. He just couldn't get anywhere near him. The problems we've seen him have earlier in his career is he'd get too eager to land that massive right hand, which we know he's got, shut down his space, fall in, and then it would get messy on the inside. But he used that height and reach really well, probably for the first time ever. Yeah. Maintained the gap, maintained the distance. Increasingly that jab was a weapon, and he sort of swooped to the body with that right hand to the body, and they just kept doing it. And that was obviously a plan, because he practically never went upstairs with it.
No, but we said beforehand that Okolie, you know, we touched on that. He's been criticised for his style and different things, but we said he always finds a way to win. But tonight he did a lot more. He didn't just find a way to win. He boxed well. He was technically good. He kept the distance. He didn't fall in. There wasn't a lot of clinching. Do you know what I mean? He took his time. He picked his punches. I thought he was brilliant tonight. You know, not just, he didn't just find a way to win. Technically and tactically, he went about the job perfect. He was disciplined. He took his time. He didn't get excited. It was a brilliant. We could sit here and analyse it 100 times, but every single time we couldn't really pick a fault with it. There was nothing that he should have done that he didn't do, and you know what I mean. He was brilliant tonight.
No, he was, and you look at how far he's come in such a short space of time. I got to know him in the amateurs a bit. I saw him in the WSB final in Tashkent, where he got knocked out basically by Erislandi Savon. Went to the Olympics off the back of a handful of senior amateur appearances, really. 15 fights in, he's boxing and winning a world title. He's got the set. He's British, you know, Commonwealth, European, and world champion. He's
got the set. If he's done nothing again in his life, he's completed it. You know what I mean? And like you said there, yeah, he got knocked out. Savon, how many fights has Savon had? He'd had 22.
Hundreds.
Going into the Olympics, do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, he's thrown in this deep end without really being taught how to swim, and he's just learned a way to get there, to survive. And that's happened to him in the pro game. He's like, all of a sudden, because he's winning, he's being fast-tracked. And maybe COVID was a blessing, because maybe it's given him more time to work with Shane McGuigan. Listen, I've said this to you loads of times. Everyone goes, who's the best trainer in the world? It depends. It's a marriage. You know, not everyone suits everyone. But that's obviously a partnership that is working well, because there's improvements every single time. He's had a fight with him now, and none more evident than tonight. He was brilliant. You couldn't fault him.
Yeah, big credit to Shane McGuigan, another world champion for him, and you know, good coaches, good trainers in whatever sport it is. The idea is that they improve their athletes, and he's definitely done that. And yeah, he's not had the easiest time of it because of the surname. People expect a lot, and they're quick to criticise. So, you know, he kind of knows what fighters with a lot of expectation on their shoulders go through, which maybe kind of helps too. I mean, what would you want to see Okolie do now? Because you look at the other champions in that division, Maccabi with the WBC, Breedis with the IBF, a fighter called Arsene Goulamirian, who's, you know, not that well known with the WBA. I'd love to see Okolie fight Maris Breedis.
Yeah. But maybe Maccabi would be a good one next, you know, especially because he's just boxed a southpaw. Maybe going against Maccabi as well, who's a southpaw. Breidis, that's a great fight as well. Any of those.
the word is that he'll move up to heavyweight, and you'd imagine he will do at some point. But as far as I know, he still does 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay. And you look at the physical size of him in there. Glowacki's not the biggest cruiserweight. That's definitely accurate, but it was so stark, the physical difference between them.
Yeah, but like you say, I think if he's comfortable enough at cruiserweight, I don't think there's any panic to get up to heavyweight, especially if you look at the heavyweight landscape. Fury, Joshua, I mean, they're like super heavyweights, aren't they? These are big men. You know, he's 28 years old, Okolie. I think let those guys kind of push on. You know, maybe try and unify the division at cruiserweight. But maybe that'll take a couple of years, and then you maybe push on to heavyweight after that.
I mean, it's a trendier division now than it was, isn't it? I think one of the problems it had previously was that it wasn't a division that people paid an enormous amount of attention to. But yeah, it's a great story. It's a great story. Everybody knows the McDonald's background, but more for me, it's about the fact that he has been quite heavily criticised at times. He's never really taken it personally. He's always known that he's a work in progress. He'll still think that. And that's the way you've got to do it, isn't it?
I think he still is a work in progress.
Yeah,
that's
totally,
the best I've seen him by far. So he's obviously getting better, and that the confidence of now being world champion. It's like box ticked, isn't it? Job done a little bit. So really now I think he'll. That's why I don't think there's any rush for the Brady's fight. But if it happens, it happens. But I think Brady's is a star. From where he's from, you go back to his backyard. That was chaos when
total chaos
when.
Glowacki boxed him in the Super Series.
That was like manic, so I don't think Eddie will be letting
you're
Okolie go over there.
You're not queuing up to take your lads over there.
No,
absolutely not.
not.
Absolutely not. Just a quick word on the rest of the card. We saw good wins for Ramla Ali and Ellie Scottney. Tough fight for Chris Billam-Smith. You were just having a chat with him over there. Tough 10 rounds against Vasyl Dutsar. You could see from Chris's face that'd have been a proper fight. Points win for Joe Cordina, good to see him back, and a stoppage for Fowler. I thought Fowler, again, another McGuigan fighter. Interested to see what happens with him next. He wants to win a Cheeseman against Metcalf, which happens next week.
I'd love to see that fight, and I mean, whoever it may be, but I mean, if it was Metcalf, the two of them in Liverpool, Shane Erie fought Andy Holligan in a tent in Stanley Park. Maybe they could do that again.
Belly was talking about exactly that earlier on. He was saying that they should do exactly that. But he was, he's good value, Fowler.
Yeah.
He gave his usual entertaining post-fight interview. We probably better wrap it up because soon enough somebody's going to come over. Somebody's going to come over and start disassembling us. But it's been a great night, been a really good night at the SSC Arena. Next week it's the Rumble on the Rock in Gibraltar. Dillian Whiteley against Alexander Povetkin. But of that class of Rio 2016, I don't know how many people would have tipped up Lawrence Okolie to become the first one to take a world title, but he's done it in his 16th fight. It's a hell of an effort. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the night's boxing. We'll catch you again soon.